On today's episode of the Habits Podcast, we've got Stuart Clark from Russell & Russell, and he'll be sharing with us the importance for businesses to have management accounts. So thanks for joining us, Stuart. First things first, what qualifies you to be our guest expert when it comes to accountancy for business?
So I'm the Managing Director at Russell & Russell Business Advisors and Chartered Accountants. We help our clients to grow their business. I've been an accountant for 16 years, and we focus on being proactive and helping our clients take home more of what they earn. Last year, I did a review of our clients, and on average, I saved them £24,000 a year in extra take-home pay or corporation tax savings.
So, Stuart, what are some of the things you see that people get wrong when it comes to management accounts?
Obviously, the first thing is probably not having them at all, but what they're trying to do is they've got this focus on turnover and growing the business and increasing the sales, but that doesn't necessarily always reflect an increase in profit because they don't necessarily know what their gross profit and their gross margins are. So they need to understand their key figures and what they should be tracking on a monthly basis in order that they can get the most out of their management accounts. So they don't know what their accounts should look like, and they're not having that discussion with their accountant. You should be educating them to explain what the numbers they are and why they are important.
So there'll be a lot of businesses out there that just assume that they're growing because they're taking on more staff and they've got more clients, but the profit margin might actually be remaining the same. So that they wouldn't really know that unless they did have managed accounts, would they?
Yeah, and quite often you see a disconnect. So you might have the sales team and you might have the operational team. And the sales team have been told, right, we want to hit £1 million turnover this year, for example. So go out there and win as much new business as we can. So they'll start discounting. So let's say you buy something for £70 and you sell it for 100. Your gross profit on that is £30. Now, if your sales team start discounting to try and get more sales in, they might say, okay, I'll give you a 10% discount if you come on board. Now, they're winning more business, but actually, if you look at that sale now, instead of being £100, it's now only £90. Your cost of sale is still the same. It's still the 70 quid. So instead of making 30 quid per sale, you're only making 20 quid. So actually, you need to get 50% more sales in to make the same amount of money just by giving that 10% discount. So actually, your sales team can be totally disconnected from what everyone else is trying to achieve. And if you don't look at your numbers and see that the fact that actually maybe your margin has dropped from 30% down to 20%, your turnover could be going up and up and up, but actually your profit at the end of the day is decreasing.
I know we're guilty of that in my own business sometimes, where we will say, right, we'll do a price reduction or a promotion to get more business through the doors. And you forget then that the work's still got to be done. It still costs us the same to complete that work. We make content, so a video or an animation might take 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. So if our sales team, which is me, if I'm there and I go and get 10 new clients in, I think, oh, great, look, we've got all this business, but now I've tied up all of our operations team for so long, and now the profit margin's reduced. Sometimes you're creating more problems for yourself down the line if you run a business like that.
Absolutely, and that's by knowing your numbers, you can know your value. So you might, if you're speaking to someone and they go, that seems a bit expensive, then you can go, well, it's expensive because we do X, Y, Z, and here's the return you get on it. So it's worth it. And we know that it works at this point. If we do it for cheaper than that, then either you're going to get an inferior product because we have to cut corners, or we're going to begrudge doing the work for you and it's not worth my time.
Yeah, well, I've said both of them things recently. I've said both of them things recently with people where I've said, well, to you as the client, you're thinking, well, we're going to give you £1,000 or £1,200. But if we only make £100 from that sale or, £50 profit, we might as well not do the work and then free that time up of our production team to go and do other work that's more profitable. So we're actually going through that at the moment. What would be your 3 top tips or your good habits for anybody that wanted to get this put in place?
So I think, working with your accountant to look at getting management accounts and understand what your gross profit is and understand what your margin is and the impact of discounting. So again, it might be that you go, actually discounting is worth it. You might, in some cases, so for example, if you said, actually, if I bring in someone as a new client, but they tend to stay with us and do 4 bits of business with us a year, and they'll work with us for the next 5 years because of lifetime value, you might go, actually, that to get our foot in the door and prove our worth is fine. I'll offer that discount. But again, we might want to speak to them and say, look, I'm offering you a discount here, but if you're happy with this, it's going to revert back to the normal price going forward.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is give a discount. They then expect that's the price going forward. And if they refer any new business on, they're going to expect a discount as well. So understanding your numbers and speaking with your accountant as to, okay, what's the impact if I increase my sales price? What if I decrease my sales price? Most people don't think they can increase their price. But actually, if you sold something for £1,000, if you make it £1,010, you're not going to lose any customers on that difference. But that could be an extra 20, 30 grand on your bottom line just by increasing your sales. We kind of say to clients, if they're not getting turned down because of price, they're not charging enough. And so speaking to your accountant, understanding your numbers and reviewing I think a lot of people you're talking about people asking for discounts. A lot of people just want to cut costs and they think that's the best way to grow their profitability.
Yeah.
Actually, it's getting that top line is the most important, getting your sales price right. And so if they're looking to work with you, it's okay, well, what is the return on investment for that? What's the average lifetime value of a client? What's the customer acquisition cost of that client? How many customers have they got at the moment? And how many do they want to increase it to? Most people don't know these things. So as with anything, if you want to improve, you need to measure it in the first place. You can't just say, okay, I want to improve my customers by 10%. Then you ask them, how many customers have you got at the moment? And how many times do they deal with you? And most business owners go, blah, 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 blah. No idea.
It's interesting that you mentioned about the increase in the pricing and not sort of knowing your margins. When in my old business, we sold it, the new owners came in and they increased the prices by a significant amount, by about 40%. Because they'd worked out that the clients they lost, the increase in price would more than justify it. So they were actually doing less work in effect, so less admin costs, less accounts needed servicing, less customer service, even admin, sending out paperwork and stuff like that. And they retained their top most profitable clients. And they actually lost about 15 to 20% of the bottom tier of their client base, but then increased their margins anyway. So they're actually earning more money for less work. And I think more businesses could probably achieve that if they actually tried it, because obviously selling on price is a race to the bottom for a lot of businesses.
Yeah, and there's no winners in that race. Absolutely. Going back to that example of you buy it for £70 and you sell it for 100, if you increase your price to £110, so a 10% increase, your gross profit in that is now 40 quid. So compared to 30 quid, you're making 40 quid. So you can actually afford to lose 25% of your customers and still make the same amount of money. So again, if you're a business that you go, actually, I'm happy with what I'm earning, but I'm time poor, then increasing your prices, either it's going to result in increased profit in the bottom line, so maybe you can hire someone to take over some of the stuff that you're doing, or you're going to get rid of the D-list clients, the ones that are kind of vampire clients that suck all the life out of you, and the ones that pay the least and complain the most. And so you want to get rid of them, or you want to bring them up to be an A-list client where they're paying what your value is, and they appreciate you and you don't mind working for them.
Well, I found that more in my old business. There's definitely a correlation between them. Often, the ones that expect the most from you and you make the least money on they're a drain on your time a lot of the time. So sometimes you're better off without them.
Absolutely, and that's where management accounts, you can start to see what your margin is. A lot of people think, well, my margin's 30%, and I priced it like that. But then when they actually look at the figures, it's maybe 28%, 26%, which doesn't sound like much. But if you take that over £1 million business, it adds up to a lot in the bottom line. And it's only when you drill into it at that point, it then shows them, okay, on this job, we're losing money. This client's a problem client. And so the management accounts is kind of the starting point. It shows you exactly what's happening in your business. And from that, you can drill into further things behind that and allow you to make proactive decisions. And that's the point of management accounts, is to allow you to make decisions in the year that are going to affect positive change, rather than getting your year-end accounts once a year and having a 5-minute conversation with your accountant where they say, oh, your electricity looks a bit high, maybe you should look at a new supplier. Oh, brilliant, I've saved 500 quid. That's not going to make a bit of difference to the overall profitability of my business.
And should your accountant be proactively advising you to have these in place? Because I bet there's a lot of businesses listening to this that they think, well, I've never even heard of this before. Or is it onus on the small business owner to go and ask your accountant to provide these for you?
I think we believe that the onus is on the accountant, that it's our ethical duty. We're trying to help you to run your business and grow it, and you're paying us for it. So it's up to us to put things to you that we think you need. You might say, I don't need that at the moment, but we shouldn't deprive you of that option, and we should be able to show you what the value in it is. Same with the tax planning stuff that we do. You might not know how the best way to pay yourself is. That's what you're paying us for. So it's up to us to come to you with ideas and say, look, I think we need to do X, Y, Z. And quite often management accounts is something that gets forced on people, especially if they're taking bank debt. The bank says, right, you need management accounts. And they go, they see it as a burden, something they're going to have to do. But actually, once they get in the rhythm and they start to control their costs and they start to see it, then they can see the value in it. And something that was kind of forced upon them and was a burden is now a real positive.
So if I'm listening to this now and I think that's something we need in place, I don't know what my margins are, I want to grow my business, reduce costs, increase my profits, where could I find yourself to get some information about this?
So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, Stuart Clark at Russell & Russell Business Advisors. But we've also got our website, which is growyourbusiness.co.uk.
So thanks to Stuart for sharing with us his good habits when it comes to management accounts. If you're looking to get them put in place, don't forget to check him out and join us next time for some more Habits Podcast.